in the wake of that court judgment yesterday, Theresa May's been making some difficult phone calls this morning.
Yes, Theresa May picked up the phone to Jean-Claude Juncker, EU Commission President, this morning to update him about yesterday's court case, in which, of course, the High Court said that Parliament should vote before we trigger Article 50. She told him she was disappointed, but it was full steam ahead, and this wasn't going to derail the timetable that she set out. She, of course, wants Parliament to trigger, Article 50 by the end of March next year, and said that the government are confident that they are going to have this judgment overturned at the Supreme Court in December. She also spoke to the German Chancellor Angela Merkel and will be speaking to the French President François Hollande this afternoon to reiterate that message. So she wants to keep everyone in Europe clear that Brexit is still going ahead. Now, at the European Commission, there were questions about this phone call, and we thought it was quite short and sweet.
The President explicitly stressed that he respects the legal order and the constitutional order of the UK, and this is now a British affair. The timing is in the hands of the British authorities. We have no further comment to make, and we will also not speculate on the British timeline.
Just a quick question. How long was the phone call? Was it a short phone call? Was it a long phone call?
It was a rather short phone call.
Now, of course, Brexiteers in her party will fear that any vote in Parliament will enable MPs and peers to simply delay triggering Article 50 or try to impose a number of conditions. The Lib Dems have already threatened to do just that in the House of Lords. So for Theresa May, it's going to be a difficult few months to negotiate.
Indeed, Mark Owen, thank you. The Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has used a visit to Berlin to claim that Brexit can lead new opportunities for the whole of Europe. He was speaking at his first bilateral meeting with his German counterpart, who appeared less enthusiastic about the EU's renowned UK. Our senior political correspondent Robert Nisbet is in the German capital and has this update.
Some positive expressions, I think, from Boris Johnson. Well, they were spurned, I would suggest, by the German foreign minister, his German counterpart. It wasn't a particularly warm press conference, despite Boris Johnson's attempts to then lighten up the whole process. He made a few jokes, started speaking in German, talked about the Sturm and Drang in the British Parliament, and that people shouldn't be about resignation today, but Britain is on track to leave. And the reason I think Mr. Steinmeier was being fairly cold is that he is sticking pretty closely to the Angela Merkel control book, which is what they want is they don't want Brexit at all. They think it's unfortunate that the referendum happened, and what they would like to see is perhaps the whole enterprise to be called off. However, they are sticking also to that line of no negotiation without notification, that until Britain triggers Article 50, there are going to be no substantive talks around the table. And so, therefore, he wasn't particularly forthcoming about Brexit, Mr. Steinmeier, despite, as you say, Boris Johnson suggesting that it would be a win-win situation for Brexit, that Britain could actually increase its relationship with Germany, and it would embrace German culture more than it has at the moment while being members of the EU. Well, I mentioned to both leaders a report, or both ministers, I should say, a report that came out yesterday from a German think tank, a group of economic experts who are thought the wise men here in Germany, who said that it would be better for negotiations to begin to prevent a Brexit. And I asked Mr. Steinmeier whether that was his preferred option, and also asked Boris Johnson whether the British government would be open to that suggestion.
Mein preferred option wäre ein anderer Ausgang des britischen Referendums. My preferred very senior lawyer, in a sense going along with the judgments of very senior law court people today, who said that this must be a decision for Parliament to trigger Article 50. It seems very reasonable. This should be a parliamentary decision. It was Parliament who voted to take it into the European Union. It should be then as a trigger how we come out. So I understand this resignation. And I think we should respect the decision of the court, take this to Parliament, and let them trigger Article 50.
So what role will the House of Lords be playing in this?
Our normal one, which is to scrutinise, not coming out. We know we're going to come out. People decide that. But how we come out, the sort of relationships we have with Germany, how important we think about our car industry, where we prioritise our financial sector, how we look after Europeans, British people who are living in Europe at the moment who will lose their European citizenship. There are really big issues. And that's what we will do in the House of Lords. We'll scrutinise the method of coming out and then go on to agree that we should come out as people have asked us, we should trigger Article 50, but we still have some detailed discussions to have. And that's our job.
It is interesting you're saying this isn't about not coming out, because Nick Clegg has been speaking, suggesting that the Lords could kick this out effectively. He's calling for Lib Dem and Labour peers to come together and ultimately potentially force a second referendum.
This is the party with 8% of the national opinion poll at the moment, trying to tell us what to do. Look, we had a referendum. We said we would respect the outcome of the referendum, and that is that we should withdraw from the European Union. It is really important, though, that our relationship with the European Union, with the 27 that remain, is a good relationship, that we can continue to trade there, that we can safeguard our jobs here, that we can make sure that our region still flourish, and in fact do more than flourish, actually grow. So there's big decisions to be taken, not playing politics, not trying to undo the referendum, but actually helping to make sure that the way we come out is as good as possible for rich people, as good as possible for reducing inequalities, for promoting growth, retaining jobs, looking after consumer interests, protecting our environment, all the things that are really important to rich people. That's our job to do, not to try and undo the decisions of rich people.
But haven't the British people already had their say in the form of the referendum? Do you not think there'll be a lot of anger at the House of Lords, a body of unelected peers, will be seen as stalling the process and the timetable that Theresa May has set out for the end of 2017?
I see no reason why we should be stalling it. It will start obviously in the Commons and then come to us. We can make time. There are other bills going through. We can put to one side, and we can do our job. I don't think we'll get to stall it. We've got 2.5 years probably before we leave, and it will give the government some time. Let's be truthful about this. The government was caught short. It didn't expect the outcome of the referendum it got, and therefore it didn't have a negotiating strategy ready. It hadn't got right way through the preparation work. That's the government's fault. So a little extra time for it to get this right, to think through all the myriad of implications, it is no bad thing. Because that's good for Britain, is that the way we come out should be as good as possible. So we're not into delaying. We're we're trying to make sure the way we come out is as good as it can be. That's our job, not to stall, but to do our job properly, scrutinising the decisions that the government is going to have to take. Lots of hard decisions, and we must make sure that they are taking these in the best interest of all our people.
And how concerned are you that this raises the prospect of a snap general election? One was suggesting that Theresa May could quadruple her majority. You've got to be concerned in the Labour Party, haven't you?
Well, we're always ready to fight an election. There's nothing like better than getting out there and making our case. The important thing is she is the Prime Minister of this country. She must take decisions now in the national interest, not in her own party's political interest. This is the biggest political thing, basically, that's happened almost in my lifetime. I was born just after the war, so more went on then. But this is a big moment in our country's development. she must put past political interest to one side and do what is right for Britain. I hope she will engage in cross-party talks. I hope she will involve all of us to see how do we make this reform from the European Union work for all our country. I will be very sorry if she takes decisions just in the interest of the Tories. It may or may not be right to have a general election, but a guiding principle should be what's good for Britain at this moment. Insecurity, uncertainty in markets that we know investors don't like. We're trying to trade with Germany, and we just heard that they're reluctant to do deals with us at the moment. They're reluctant to talk. She really has got to take Britain first and take decisions that affect and benefit the whole of this country.
Okay, Baroness Taylor, thank you very much for talking to us this afternoon. We're time now to take a look at today's other main stories. And Syrian State TV is reporting that a rebel group has fired 2 rockets in eastern Aleppo, breaking Russia's temporary 10-hour ceasefire on the city. It says rockets targeted one of the 2 humanitarian corridors set up to allow rebel fighters and residents to meet with the city. Now news has heard dozens of Marks and Spencer stores have been closed in a radical shake-up of the way the retailer operates. The new boss of M&S, Steve Rowe, will also announce next week that some stores will stop selling clothes, with space reallocated to support more successful food operations. Thousands of migrants have been camping out on pavements in northeastern Paris and being removed by French police and city officials. 600 riot officers moved in on the makeshift camp before dawn this morning. Migrants are now being transferred by bus to temporary shelters across the city, where they'll be able to apply for asylum. At least 8 people have been killed and 100 people wounded in a car bomb attack in southeast Turkey. The attack came after the government crackdown against members of opposition parties continued, with 11 more arrests overnight. A former North Wales police chief is due to be sentenced for historical child sex offences. 79-year-old Gordon Anglesey was convicted of 1 charge of indecent assault against 1 boy and 3 indecent assaults against another at the end of a 6-week trial last month. Police have released CCTV footage of a person they want to speak to after a man was raped in Manchester city centre. The 23-year-old victim walked with his attacker a short distance before he was raped and robbed in a doorway. It happened around 4:30 a.m. on Wednesday. The victim had his watch and his ring stolen. A pensioner has been found guilty of attempted murder and 2 counts of wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm after carrying out a stabbing spree in a supermarket car park. 67-year-old Ethan Horan said the random attack in his home in West London had been triggered after he felt humiliated by police who'd arrested him the previous day. Michael Bublé's son has been diagnosed with cancer. Noah, who turned 3 in September, is currently undergoing treatment in America. In a statement, Michael said, "We are devastated about the recent cancer diagnosis of our oldest son, Noah. Louisa and I have put our careers on hold in order to devote all our time and attention to helping Noah get well." The Royal British Legion has urged FIFA in the strongest terms to rethink its ban on England and Scotland players wearing poppies.
Time to stir things up. Mustard in a pea and ham risotto. Oh, I don't mind if I do. Bay pesto, the humble cheese toasty transform. And beef stew with horseradish. Oh, I'll take it out, my God. Like that. Who's the second? Little twist from Sainsbury's. Live well and there's a mountain of money in says site like that to pay back people who possibly missold you enough. Yet many people have done nothing about it. Can you really afford not to find out if you're owed up £7,000? It's your money. So if you're nervous, unsure, or simply don't know, call Gladstone Books now will guide you through the process. After all, that's what we do. Call today on 08000 469 600. Gladstone Books.
Hey, I know what I'm doing. It's great being able to help your family and hope we die. They shouldn't have to worry about funeral costs or paying off any bills. So we've taken out British Seniors over 50s life insurance, and they've got this great new benefit. The lifetime payback guarantee. With most life insurance companies, you just get your cover amount when there's a claim, even if you paid in more. But with the lifetime payback guarantee, if you've lived a long life and paid in more premiums than your cover amount, they'll pay out all the premiums you've paid in.
With British Seniors, you're guaranteed to be accepted. And with the lifetime payback guarantee, the benefits your loved ones will receive will always be your cover amount or the total premiums you pay. Whichever is more, you can get cover from £2,000 to £20,000, and premiums start from as little as £6.47 a month.
This will work for years and years. Like you.
Call now on 0800 877 8868 for lifetime payback guarantee.
Just 5 days to go until the US election now. Republican nominee Donald Trump is catching up with Hillary Clinton in the polls. Both candidates on the campaign trail today, speaking in the key state of Pennsylvania, where many voters remain undecided. The latest polls for that state show Clinton has a 3-point lead at 46.8% ahead of her rival Donald Trump at 43.8%. Trump is due to speak in Atkinson, New Hampshire, the key swing state. Our US correspondent Amanda Walker is there, and at this stage in the game, what's he hoping to achieve? What can we expect from him, Amanda?
Hoping to stay out of the negative headlines. That's something that his campaign has really been battling for months and months now. Is when Donald Trump says something or does something, and everybody pounces, and it's seen as controversial. It doesn't go down well, particularly most recently when those women came forward and accused him of sexual assault. That's when he saw a big dip in his poll. He seems to have recovered since then. There's certainly a lot of enthusiasm for Donald Trump on the trail. This event here in New Hampshire is a bit more sedate than the others that we've been to. It's much smaller. They're going to hear from Donald Trump in about 40 minutes from that podium there. They want him to stay on message, and that's what he has been doing. He's been reading the auto cue obediently. That's what his campaign wants to see him do. This could be a decisive state for Donald Trump. It's was won by President Obama by about 6 points in the last election. But at the moment, the polls are favouring Donald Trump. And the latest average poll clear from Real Clear Politics, Donald Trump at 43.5%, and Hillary Clinton at 42%. So he sees this state as a real option for him. Only 4 electoral college votes would make it crucial. Christine Roldan here, you are absolutely decided on Donald Trump. What about his very good behaviour lately? Don't people like it when he's a bit more raucous, a bit more offensive?
I think it's nice that he says it like it is, and he's not afraid of stepping on toes, and I think that's what our country needs right now, is to get things back in order.
What about the way he's been at the moment? He's been reading his auto cue, he hasn't been fixing the message. Is that good for him at the moment?
I think he needs to get the message out and not get distracted with some of the stick to the issues. And I think everybody appreciates that.
Right, she spoke yesterday. Her experience as a model in Paris and Milan. Is she relatable?
Okay, we're having problems, as you can hear there, with Clinton versus Trump, the aftermath on Sky Atlantic at 9 p.m. And on Sky News, for the latest tonight, Jeremy Thompson will present a special program from the US, America Decides. Join him at midnight for that. And now to some sport, let's go to Sky Sports Centre for an update.
Now he's watering. It won't go into a bus, you know. Not this guy.
Big news for Tottenham fans ahead of Sunday's North London derby. Harry Kane is back in the squad. The striker has been out since injuring his ankle against Sunderland in mid-September. But manager Mauricio Pochettino has confirmed that he could feature against Arsenal. A timely move for Spurs, according to this from the player.
So when he first went out the team, they looked good. It was fine. They were scoring goals, and Son was coming in, bending them from 25 yards. But they dry up. And what they missed was those tackles, those goals that Harry Kane scored so many of last year.
Well, Yaya Toure tried to salvage his Manchester City career by apologising on behalf of his agent. Midfield has not played since the agent was critical of manager Pep Guardiola, who now appears willing to give him another chance. Title on Chelsea have been keeping down the speculation that Cesc Fabregas will be allowed to leave on loan in January. He started just one game under manager Antonio Conte, who insists he's still part of his plans.
And he think Fabregas is Chelsea's player, and the real people they'll be in the next ball.
David Moyes has revealed he met Sunderland's owner this week and was assured he's still got his full backing. The manager's yet to win in 10 Premier League games with the club, which has seen 8 managers in 7 years.
These are testing times. You have to try and keep doing the right things and keep the players believing, and we're trying to do that. Yeah, he's got to do that all. I speak to him on a quite regular. I speak to him on the phone. I've seen him this week, and he's all fine.
Well, this week actually became the first team in the Champions League history to keep clean sheets in their first 4 games, but it's come at a cost. Keeper Kasper Schmeichel will be out for 6 weeks after breaking his hand in Wednesday against FC Copenhagen. Manager rates him as one of the best in Europe.
For us, is the best. For me, is the best. It's very important for my team, Kasper.
Before the scoring out of Liverpool's game with Watford, this was his reaction when reminded that his side lost 3-0 at Vicarage Road in one of his first games in charge last December.
The best thing at this stage was we had Christmas party at night. That was good, by the way. He enjoyed it.
Well, FIFA have underlined their stance on political messages on shirts by charging the Republic of Ireland with breaking the rules. It relates to the game against Switzerland in April this year, where an emblem was woven into shirts to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Easter Uprising, in which 485 people died in protest against British rule. Andy Murray's quest to be world number 1 continues over on Sky Sports 1 today. He's on course against Thomas Berdych in the Paris Masters a little bit later on from 6:30, and we're back here with another update in an hour.
Great idea. I think I'll plant myself on the sofa.
Let's have a look at the weather now as we head towards the weekend.
As showers wash over the academy. Australia soaks up some fabulous island.
Well, with a strengthening northern wind, it is going to be a cold weekend. It's already feeling chilly out there with scattered showers in the north and west and outbreaks of the rain in the southeast. It will be cold and breezy tonight with a widespread early frost. Mostly dry with clear spells inland, but showers will affect many coastal areas, especially the north and east. Snow over the northern border. After a cold and frosty start to Saturday, it will be mostly dry with sunny spells. A brisk raw northerly wind will see a split of showers to expose coastal areas. Wrap up as you're heading out to Rotterdam.
intriguing, engaging, unpredictable. You never know what you'll be waking up to. So we shed light on the breaking news that everyone will be talking about, from politics and markets to entertainment and sports. We debate the stories that affect your world. So let's give you a brighter start to the day.
For a fresh look at morning news, join Sarah Jane Lee on Sunrise from 6 a.m. on Sky News.
Given your full of personality with Vistagrid wall candles, save 50% at just $7.99 when you enter promo code KID at vistagrid.co.uk. Order by the 21st of December to get it before Christmas.
There's a mountain of money being set aside by banks to pay back PPI, possibly the result of UNI. But many people have done nothing about it. Can you really afford not to find out if you're owed that £7,000? It's your money. So if you're nervous, unsure, or simply don't know, call Gladstone Brooks now will guide you through the process. After all, it's what we do. Call today on 08000 469 600. It's sensational and moving. Movement regiments are brilliant directly if you are powerful and important travel. You and director Jennifer Carpenter Courage back on American Pastoral. Mistakes, they happen. But if you've been a victim of a medical mistake, the consequences can be life-changing. First, the lawyers are experts in making things easier for you and your family to cope with. We don't just fight for compensation. We work hard to get you the care required to get you better. First, the lawyers want to get you back to being you. Because that's what justice feels like. To see if you have a medical compensation claim, call 0800 567 7822.
Own Christmas with this 500GB Xbox One S FIFA 17 bundle with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare for just $279.99. Spread the cost interest-free with free standard delivery and free return. Only with Littlewoods. This is unsure.
Greetings, Dustin Soldier from Auschwitz Waste Management ever in your history. There's so many things that can go wrong. This is dangerous. So it's hospital.
Miles starts the 13th of November on National Geographic Channel.
Looks like we're ready.
You're watching Sky News, the headlines. Conservative MP Stephen Phillips stands down over the government's approach to Brexit, saying the values of the party have changed and he doesn't want to represent UKIP light. Meanwhile, Theresa May is seeking to regain control of Brexit after yesterday's High Court ruling, telling European Commissioner President Jean-Claude Juncker her plans to trigger Article 50 are still on track. And a temporary ceasefire in the Syrian city of Aleppo appears to be over after state television claimed rebels had fired rockets aimed at humanitarian corridors.
race here. We're expecting Hillary Clinton shortly to speak to a crowd in Pittsburgh. I'm actually at the Duquesne Incline. This is a cable car that used to take factory workers down to the steel works on the shore. Hello everyone, it's just about to take a journey up to the top. And jobs, the economy is factoring heavily in this election. Tom, tell me, from your perspective, the Democrats say that this is their blue wall. Do you think that they'll be able to gain Pennsylvania?
It's pretty hard to get anybody in Pittsburgh to vote Democratic. Where unions began, steel workers, mine workers, truckers, everybody that was a member of any kind of a union is well aware of the Democratic Party. In fact, if we go up the hill over in town, you'll see United Steelworkers building shining up there.
And the landscape and the political landscape are certainly shifting here. How would you describe what people want to see in Pittsburgh and the suburbs?
They certainly would like to see a change in government as a whole. Our Congress not efficient, and the Democrats set up a wall, and the Republicans set up a wall, and nothing gets done. And people in America are tired of it. That's why I think Donald Trump is not the Republican nomination. I don't think any Republicans really like him, and they are probably befuddled as to why people in the party who are the registered Republicans don't like them.
Well, some of the pictures behind us, but then where Hillary Clinton is going to be speaking, she previously talked about closing down the coal mines, and that was very controversial. Do you think that she has alienated the all-important white working class voters in Pennsylvania?
If you look down here, you'll see several barges full of coal. Yeah, that means something to people in Pittsburgh in this area. U.S. Steel has a coke works up with it, and they cook that coal and turn it into a fancy kind of charcoal called coke, used in the steelmaking industry. And of course, that comes back by rail and is distributed to various steelworking areas in the country.
I mean, the Democrats argue that we need to start looking at renewable energy sources. And some people I've spoken to in Pennsylvania say actually the change needs to come in technologies and different industries. That Pennsylvania needs to move on. What do you make of that?
Personally, I look at it as back when we started changing from horses to cars. I don't remember, I wasn't alive then, but I don't think anybody cared whether the blacksmiths had a job or not, because there were other jobs created. And we definitely need to do that.
Tom, thanks very much indeed for sharing the ride with us. Well, it is a tightly contested race. The Democrats are finding a lot of money and time into this state. They believe that they can do well here. They can stave off Donald Trump elsewhere in places like Michigan and Wisconsin.
Cornelia, thank you. Now let's remind you of Operation Houston now. The former North Wales police chief has been jailed for 12 years for historical child sex offences. 79-year-old Gordon Anglesey was convicted of one charge of indecent assault against one boy and 3 assaults against another at the end of a 6-week trial last month. Tom Palmer is following the case and joins us live now from Mold Crown Court in North Wales. And this dates back to the 1980s, Tom.
It does. It is an extraordinary fall from grace for someone who was a senior police officer at that time in Wrexham and the surrounding area. And in the last few moments, he's been taken down to the cells here at Mold Crown Court with a 12-year prison sentence. He is 79 years old, and there were great cheers from the public gallery. Many people who've been affected by the child abuse scandal here in North Wales, and some survivors of the abuse were in court listening to that. One of the things they placed on the court ground just outside here is a banner that says 37 years for justice, a bittersweet moment. A bittersweet moment because for so long he was protected from prosecution. There were allegations back in the early 1990s of a similar ilk. He went to the High Court and sued the newspapers that published that information. He won that court case
case, was adamant that he believes that there are no grounds for believing that the convictions are unsafe, and therefore he was satisfied to go ahead with sentencing and to take into account the various guidelines that he has to work within. That the offence took back many years, but also that they are now in a sentencing plan where the attitude to sexual offences is far different from when Gordon Anglesey was committing offences. So a significant moment, and a bittersweet moment, because not all the survivors who suffered at the hands of Gordon Anglesey are alive to see this moment today, as it said there, 37 years on.
Thank you. Now, we often hear that boys lag behind girls when it comes to reading, but a new study suggests that focus on improving boys' standards is contributing to a growing literacy crisis among girls. Joining now is Caroline Farrow and Joan Smith. Good afternoon to you both. Caroline Farrow, let's start with you first. So, are we focusing too much on boys at the expense of girls?
No, I don't think we are actually, because when you look at the research, it only gives us figures for girls. So we've got nothing to compare it against. We don't know how boys are actually doing. And the other thing is, when you look at GCSE and A-level results, girls are significantly outperforming boys, particularly at GCSE level, where this year the number of girls achieving A's when we start classes was a bit higher, so a good 5 percentage points above boys. And then at A-level, okay, the gap narrows a bit, but you've still got more girls achieving A's and A stars at A-level than you have boys, which suggests to me that girls certainly are doing that.
But then look at those figures, that more than 40,000 girls over 10 as well have a literacy age of 7. That's not good, is it?
No, it's not good at all, but we don't know how many boys have got a similar problem, and I would suggest that it's small children who are being perhaps let down or failed in some way. And also, we don't know whether or not these children perhaps have special educational needs or learning difficulties. So it's a little bit, it's quite astonishing, I think, to draw this conclusion that girls are being failed without the other side of the picture.
Okay, let's put in Joe Smith on that. Are girls being failed by the system, okay?
Well, the age groups that the study is looking at are 10, 11, 12. So they're not the girls who are taking A-level and getting brilliant results. So what it suggests is that at a younger age, girls might be falling behind. And of course, all the concentration on how well girls are doing at school and how brilliantly they're doing, it tends to kind of ignore the fact that there are children who come from working class families who maybe don't go to such good schools, who maybe have kind of parental support. And maybe what we're missing is what's happening to them. I'm always a bit worried by the kind of obsession with how well girls do in A-level, because I think it looks at the very top performers, and quite often you miss with both children of both sexes, so to do a lot of performance in life as well.
Yeah, and actually these girls are getting described in the report as the lost girls, aren't they? Because they're just falling under the radar somehow. And the suggestion is that boys, when they're struggling, will demonstrate that in behavioural issues, potentially. They will show their frustration. Whereas girls demonstrate it in a different way. They might tend to withdraw. And therefore the signs are harder to spot. So how do we deal with that, Joseph?
Well, it's actually a very, very serious problem, because we know that if you look at the prison population, which is largely male, of course, that a huge number of men who are in prison, keep going back to prison, have literacy problems, so it's just hard for them to function in the everyday world. So what we need to do is actually focus not so much on the high achievers, because they're doing all right, but on the other kids in the class who are maybe not speaking up during class, who are quieter, who aren't participating. I think there is a tendency to concentrate on kids who are doing well, because people like to affirm what's doing well. So I think it's about looking out for those children who maybe aren't speaking up, who maybe aren't taking part in classes and things like that.
Caroline Farrow, how do you think teachers should respond to this report?
Well, I think we should continue to trust teachers, actually, and that teachers do, on the whole, do an excellent job. I think, if anything, I mean, I would agree with some of what James said in terms of, we do need to make sure that everybody achieves and everybody does well. I maybe slightly disagree with a lot of the education we've first spoken to, saying that the children who are quite gifted, that aren't being stretched in class. But the other thing I would say is, if we want everybody to do really well, then we need more teaching assistants, and and we need smaller classes. These are two key things that children need to be able to learn, and it's very, very difficult for children when they're in a big, noisy class, and perhaps they haven't got enough support. But the other thing Joe said, which I think is also interesting, and I would like to pick up on, is that the other thing that children need to do well is support at home. They need good emotional support. The home is the crucible of language and language development. And actually, what we're seeing, I think, is we're seeing a lot of really, really busy mums and dads who are actually having to outsource an awful lot of their parenting because they're having to work these very, very long hours. Children are going a lot of wraparound care. And actually, we need, mums and dads at home with their babies, with their young children, practicing speech. And also, lots of books. Another issue I think is that there is so much tech out there. Teachers are telling me that children are not reading as many books as they did maybe 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago, and their vocabulary is not as large because they're all in front of them. iPads, they're in front of their iPhones, and we need actually to support parents in reading in their home as well as in school, rather than sort of perhaps rushing to blame teachers, because I think teachers are very hard pressed, they have a difficult job to do, and actually I'd like to see more resources, more teaching assistants, and more support for their home environment as well.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the pressures on teachers, we had a report last month that suggested that one of the reasons why boys tend to lag behind girls generally in literacy was because of the way in which they read. They tend to skim read. And we know that boys and girls have a different approach to learning. Is that then perhaps an argument for those who say we should have single-sex education, that our children can't be taught in the same way?
I'm always quite nervous about that argument because I did go to a single-sex school and I didn't hugely enjoy it. I mean, there are advantages to single-sex schools because girls are not so distracted, obviously. But I think one can overdo this idea of difference between how girls and boys read. I think it's also about the expectations around them. Maybe in classes the boys are finding it easier to put their hands up and things like that, because we still have very gendered expectations of children. But I think the other point about books in homes is incredibly important because it's very rare to walk into a house not books. Whereas when I was a child, there were books everywhere. My house is full of them. I think we have a culture where people need screens. I think there is genuinely a problem with that, and the value of actually having books and being familiar with books and having books that you love. I grew up with particular books when I was a child that I would read over and over again. I'm not sure that you do that if you're reading everything from a screen.
No, okay, Joan Smith, Caroline Farrow, we're out of time. Books everywhere in my house too, long may it continue. Thank you both very much indeed. We're going to cross now to Moral Crown Court, where Gordon Anglesey has been sentenced to 12 years in jail. Let's take a statement.
The sentencing of Gordon Anglesey today is an important milestone for the victims of his crimes, for the officers from the National Crime Agency, and for the whole prosecution team who have worked so hard to bring him justice. I pay tribute to the fortitude and courage of all of the victims and witnesses who have come forward in this case. The harrowing ordeal for people to give evidence in a criminal court, the accused have been liars through counsel for the defence, etc. Come through all of that, and justice has been done at the end of the day. Mr. Anglesey abused his position of trust as a senior police officer. He preyed on those he believed to be vulnerable, people he thought would not be believed in a court. But by its verdict, the jury did believe those victims, and Mr. Anglesey must now face the consequences of his actions. Finally, of course, we cannot undo the damage which has been done to those victims, which will be lasting for the rest of their lives. But we hope that they find some solace from the conviction sentence today for Mr. Anglesey to help them with the rest of their lives. Thank you.
Okay, that was Ed Beltrami from the CBS in Wales responding to the sentencing today of retired police chief Gordon Anglesey, jailed for 12 years for historical sex crimes against two young boys in
Sponsored by SkiSet, the online ski rental network.
Hello there, skiers are already enjoying excellent sunshine skiing in the Alps, but still only on the very high peaks of the highest resorts of Austria, France, Italy, and for Switzerland as well. Thanks to heavy snowfall last month and further snow forecast for this weekend, Blackwood Peaks are offering good winter sports and more resorts and more terrain to be offered as well.
Sky U Snow Reports, sponsored by SkiSet, the online ski rental network.
Like you want to barbecue in Sky Store now. Getting you back. I'm in now. Look forward to the shots. Stable surface now. You get a switch towards the across your devices and then direct to your home. Barbecue in Sky Store now.
At Carwow, we like to cut to the chase and cut out some of the work you do. We're not saying let's reinvent the wheel, but what if we bought a new car we haven't been around? The Carwow wheel. You pick the car you like, exactly how you like it. And some of the best car dealers in Britain compete over you. Visit carwow.co.uk to see what you can save. Carwow, a new car buyers.
£10,702 for a funeral. Could your family pay for yours? Don't worry, 5 Royal London's guaranteed life cover, and you can leave your loved ones money to help pay for your funeral, which is 13 a day. And 95% of the time, Royal London pays out more in some life, so there's more money for your family. If you're 50 to 85 today, with no medical questions asked, at royallondon.com or call the UKC Credit on 0800 500 3344.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Order Mooncake cars by 7 p.m. and we'll post it that day. Mooncake.com.
Join BT Mobile today, and you'll get a combined power of fast 4G and Wi-Fi in more places than any other mobile provider. If you've got BT broadband at home, it starts from just £5 a month and comes with 500 megabytes of data. That's a great value 4G plan. Or get a perfect all-rounder with 2 gigabytes of data for £10 a month. And for £20 a month, you can enjoy a huge 15 gigabytes of data. Anyone can get BT Mobile, and with 3 SIM-only plans, you'll find one that's right for you. Visit bt.com/mobile or call 0800 456 1122.
A Russian aircraft carrier has arrived in the eastern Mediterranean as Moscow observes a 10-hour ceasefire over the siege city of Aleppo. Western intelligence expects Russia to start its final assault of the city within days. So our transfer reporter Alistair Bunkle is here. So what is the latest on the Russian aircraft carrier battleship reporting?
Well, it's a carrier group, so there's 8 ships in the group. Because the Exxon aircraft carrier is the most famous or infamous lot, if you like. I think that's a split between Crete and Cyprus, so they're making their way towards the Mediterranean. They're not, as I understand it, quite within range, or planes aren't within range yet. But Aleppo, earlier on the week, we were told by Western intelligence sources they would expect the bombing of Aleppo to begin to coincide with the US presidential elections. That's within the next couple of days. So this is all starting to sort of fix that
great being able to help your family. And we want them to have a carefree future too. So when we die, they don't have to worry about our funeral costs or pay off any bills. That's why we've taken out over 50s life insurance with British seniors. And they've got this great new benefit. A lifetime payback guarantee. With most life insurance companies, you just get your cover amount when there's a claim, even if you paid in more. But with the lifetime payback guarantee, if you've paid in more premiums than your cover amount, they'll pay out all the premiums you've paid in. So your loved ones will either get your cover amount or the amount you paid in, whichever's more. So you really can't lose.
With British seniors, you're guaranteed to be accepted. There's no medical or questions about your health. And with the lifetime payback guarantee, the benefits your loved ones will receive will always be your cover amount or the total premiums you pay, whichever is more. You can get cover from £2,000 to £20,000, and premiums start from as little as £6.47 a month.
This will run for years and years.
A bit like you. Call British Seniors on 0800 542 1634 and find out about the lifetime payback guarantee, or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
EasyMagpie.co.uk is the fast, free, and easy way to get cash for CDs, DVDs, games, and electronics. With the Music Magpie app, scan your barcodes for an instant price. To get a price for your electronics, select your item from our easy-to-use drop-down menus. When you've entered your items, complete your order, pick a payment method, and choose a free send option. We've paid over £75 million to over 3 million app customers with over 2 million app downloads. Why not join them? This autumn, welcome has some exciting additions to its range.
I like it.
As well as the old favourites. And it's always great value. Any chance for 3%? Watch brand new Trolley as part of your cardio control diet. Starts Monday at 9 on Sky One. All of your favourite Pixar movies, all in one place. Sky Cinema Disney Pixar. Available now.
The Conservative MP who backs Brexit resigns over the government's handling of the issue, saying he doesn't want to represent a ticket-like platform. Theresa May, turns to Europe's most powerful politician, to tell him her plan to pull out of Europe is still on track. Former police superintendent Gordon Anglesey is jailed for 12 years for decently assaulting 2 teenage boys in the 1980s. The ceasefire in the Syrian city of Aleppo appears to be over as state television says rebel troops were fired on a humanitarian corridor. The candidates in the US presidential election hit key swing states in a last-ditch effort to clinch just a few more votes. And a coroner in the case of President Philip Hughes denounces verbal abuse in the game as unsavory. We're discussing if sledging is ever acceptable. Hello, good afternoon. This is Sky News at 4. The Conservative MP has resigned over the government's handling of Brexit. Stephen Phillips, who backs the Leave campaign, said irreconcilable policy differences were behind his decision. The Chancellor Theresa May has been speaking to European leaders to tell them that her plans for leaving Europe are still on track. Let's go to breakfast now. Correspondent Jason Farrell joins us, and after yesterday's High Court ruling, this resignation means another day of bad news for the Prime Minister, Jason.
Yeah, it is certainly another setback for Theresa May, and in particular, I think because Stephen Phillips is someone who voted to leave, he's also someone who supported Theresa May's bid to become the leader of the Conservative Party. But he is clearly also someone who feels that despite the fact that he voted for Brexit, he thinks that the government shouldn't be totally in charge of the process, that Parliament should also have a say in how Brexit looks. I think it's particularly significant because he voted to leave, and often the argument is that it is simply Remainers who want to block the process This decision has been a difficult one, and I hope that everyone will respect the fact that I have tried to act in the best interests of all my constituents. So not only have the government got the problem of Brexit, including triggering the Article 50, and they've also got another by-election coming.
Following that High Court decision yesterday, the Prime Minister has been trying to reassure European leaders about Brexit and the timetable. What she has to say and what's the response been, Jason?
Yeah, well, this is interesting because the Prime Minister has been calling up really, as I say, to give reassurances to Jean-Claude Juncker, the European Commission President, and also to the German Chancellor Angela Merkel to say, look, we're disappointed with the High Court ruling, but we're confident that that's not going to derail our timetable to trigger Article 50 by the end of March. That's still going to happen. Why are we confident about that? Well, because we think that we have a strong enough argument to win in the Supreme Court. That is the government's argument. They're not saying that they think they can get this through Parliament and the whole how the world won't hold things up. They think we're going to win in December when it comes to the Supreme Court. The question is, well, what happens if that doesn't happen? Are there people who are in the Commons who are going to try and hold things up, who are going to try and amend the government's bill and slow things down and potentially push back the timetable? And if you listen to people like Tim Farron, certainly they are going to be asking questions of the government and listen to what the Lib Dem family have to say.
Parliament being sovereign on behalf of the people, which is right, absolutely right, what people on the Leave side said they were campaigning for last June. That provides you with an opportunity to amend the bill when it comes to Parliament so that we have a referendum on the deal. We must not end this process with a stitch-up, and it's absolutely beggars belief to people like Nigel Farage should want to put their trust in Brussels bureaucrats, because that is who is going to write the deal that Britain will have to live with unless the British people have their say.
I was talking to Ian Smith about this a short while ago, a key Brexiteer, and he said the problem is, of course, given the decision to the people, they've made their decision in a referendum in a way that way we took the decision process away from Parliament. What if the parliamentary MPs then actually counter the decision and vote against triggering Article 50? In his view, that would be a problem that could potentially trigger a constitutional crisis.
Jason Farrell in Westminster, thank you. Meanwhile, the Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has used a visit to Berlin to say that Brexit can mean new opportunities for the whole of Europe. He was speaking at his first bilateral meeting with the German counterpart, who appeared less enthusiastic about his meeting without our senior political correspondent Robert Nisbet is in the German capital and has this update for us.
Some positive expressions, I think, from Boris Johnson, while they were spurned, I would suggest, by the German German counterpart. It wasn't a particularly warm press conference, despite Boris Johnson's attempts to then lighten up the whole process. He made a few jokes, started speaking in German, talked about the Sturm and Drang in the British Parliament, and that people shouldn't be diverted by that resignation today, that Britain is on track to leave. And the reason I think Mr. Steinmeier was being fairly cold is that he is sticking pretty closely to the Angela Merkel control book, which is what they want is they don't want Brexit at all. They think it's unfortunate that the referendum happened, and what they would like to see is perhaps the whole enterprise to be called off. However, they are sticking also to that line of no negotiation without notification, that until Britain triggers Article 50, there are going to be no substantive talks around the table. And so therefore he wasn't particularly forthcoming about Brexit, Mr. Steinmeier, despite, as you say, Boris Johnson suggesting that it would be a win-win situation for Brexit, that Britain could actually increase its relationship with Germany, and it would embrace German culture more than it has at the moment while being members of the EU. Well, I mentioned to both leaders a report, or both ministers, I should say, a report that came out yesterday from a German think tank, a group of economic experts who are called the wise men here in Germany, who said that it would be better for negotiations to begin to prevent a Brexit. And I asked Mr. Steinmeier whether that was his preferred option, and also asked Boris Johnson whether the British government would be open to that suggestion.
My preferred option would be my preferred option would be a different outcome of the British referendum. That would be my preferred option.
You will notice that Frank did not say that his preferred, that is, he's a very wise man,
believe Gordon Anglesey has been sentenced to a sentence that has exceeded the expectations of many of the survivors who were in court. A 12-year sentence for those crimes back in the 1980s. He was a police superintendent in the Wrexham area, a very powerful local individual who was linked in to an abuse network that fed off the children's homes around North Wales. It's quite well documented the scandal of abuse that went on in those care homes. And Gordon Anglesey was a person in authority, someone that those vulnerable children could perhaps go to for help. But he too was a paedophile. An acutely embarrassing episode for North Wales Police. They have again apologised today and said that time has finally caught up with Gordon Anglesey. There was not little reaction from him in the docks. He was led down away to the cells, and it is his 80th year. He's 79 years old, and it is a possibility that he may die in prison. And a sense, at least, of satisfaction among those survivors in this case, two of whom gave evidence in this trial. This is what the Crown Prosecution Service had to say a little earlier outside court. Mr. Anglesey abused his position of trust as a senior police officer. He preyed on those he believed to be vulnerable, people he thought would not be believed in a court. But by its verdict, the jury did believe those victims, and Mr. Anglesey must now face the consequences of his actions. Finally, of course, we cannot undo the damage which has been done to those victims, which will be lasting for the rest of their lives. But we hope that they find some solace in the conviction and sentence today of Mr. Anglesey to help them with the rest of their lives. Many lives have been shattered by crime for Gordon Anglesey and those other abusers that he was linked in with. And it is an extraordinary turnaround. A long fight for justice. In the early 1990s, these allegations were around. They were published in some of the newspapers. Survivors came forward trying to give evidence. And he went to the High Court in a libel case and won that libel case back in 1994. He won damages of £375,000, effectively clearing his name. But he was protected at many different stages along that path to justice. And finally, today, after the trial that ended here last month, today he was sentenced and he was led away, waving sympathy to his family as he did so, starting a 12-year sentence, much to the delight of the survivors who are here, many of them though saying there are others who are not here to see this day for whatever reason. Some have taken their own lives because of the abuse they suffered in the care system in North Wales.
Today's other main stories, and Syrian State TV reporting that a rebel group has fired 2 rockets at eastern Aleppo, breaking Russia's temporary 10-hour ceasefire on the city. It says rockets targeted one of the 2 humanitarian corridors set up to allow rebel fighters and residents to flee to the siege city. Sky News has learned dozens of Marks and Spencer stores which will be closed in a radical shake-up of the way the retailer operates. The new boss at M&S, Steve Rowe, will also announce next week that some stores will stop selling clothes with space reallocated to more successful food operations. A pensioner has been found guilty of attempted murder and 2 counts of wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm after carrying out a stabbing spree in a supermarket car park. 67-year-old Peter Foran's 30 random attacks in his home in West London had been triggered after he felt humiliated by police who'd arrested him the previous day. Michael Bublé has said his 3-year-old son Noah has been diagnosed with cancer and is undergoing treatment. In relation to his Facebook page, that he and his wife are devastated at the news and have put their careers on hold to help their son get well. The Royal British Legion has urged FIFA in the strongest terms to rethink its ban on England and Scotland players wearing hockeys. PFA and FFA have said players will wear hockeys on black armbands during their Armistice Day World Cup qualifier at Wembley next week. FIFA insists the laws of the game prohibit political messages on players' kits. Earthworm called Dave, what else, has wriggled his way into the record books at 40 centimetres long and weighing 26 grams. He's the largest worm ever found in the UK. It looks a bit more like Maize. Potting in a vegetable patch in Cheshire looks like he found plenty to tuck into there, doesn't it?
being taken to employment tribunal. And therefore, they feel that they can get away with discrimination and mistreatment in the workplace. Our real concerns, therefore, is that individuals are facing unfair treatment and they have no access to justice to challenge that.
So Giddoff is the legal editor on Spiked Online. He joins me now. Good afternoon to you, Luke Giddoff. So, are these fees discriminating against people?
Well, there's a number of possible explanations for the dip that we've seen in claims. One very real possibility is the impact of mediation, the number of compulsory mediation to a wide section of employment claims in 2014. That might well be now showing its effect. It might be a good sign. It might be showing that employers are more willing to receive the demands or requests of their employees. So we certainly shouldn't rush to interpret this fraud as a direct result of the introduction of tribunal fees. But I'd also say this, I mean, what we need to think about is access to justice. I mean, there is a real possibility that these fees are causing less litigation to go forward. But maybe that's a good thing, and maybe this can now focus attention on the cases that really are deserving. You know, we know that from the Ministry of Justice that there can be tens of thousands of claims to the Employment Tribunal every single month. And there's a good chance that a lot of those are frivolous. So if we are able to focus on those cases that really need them, whilst editing out the frivolous cases, I think that's got to be a good thing.
Does a fee, though, just edit out the frivolous cases? Does it select the cases that are deserving? Or are we actually seeing the people who need the help of the tribunal the most being priced out of it? Because £1,200 would put many people off, particularly those who are on the minimum wage, taking something to a tribunal.
Going to a tribunal should be a last resort. It shouldn't be something you do casually. And I think there should be.
You feel that your employer isn't listening, mediation hasn't worked, and you feel that you've pushed the end of the road, you've got no other option, and somebody says to you it's £1,200, well, for some people that's actually completely ruled it out, isn't it?
Well, there's 2 points. First is that people like CDC should probably do have a fight to get it to deal with costs, especially in particularly certain cases. But the second thing I would encourage people to think about is, what does this say about workplace solidarity? You know, 30 or 40 years ago, someone being mistreated by their employer was a cause for other people to become involved in more of a political rather than a legal struggle. And I think the fact that we focus on a tribunal of court really says something about the kind of growth of litigation and its place in our culture, because really, I think employment disputes should be settled between the parties as far as possible. And that can often translate into something a bit more political rather than legal. So I think there's an awful lot of issues here, but, and I think maybe that if there are genuine cases that are being ignored, that's a problem. People like the CDC should intervene if there are sources. But I think overall, to call this some kind of enormous political stitch up on behalf of road employers, I think it's taking it right.
Well, I suppose the answer could come from the Ministry of Justice, who were due to publish a review on the effect of the fees by the end of last year. What happened to that?
But you and I know very well that the Ministry of Justice is terrible at Justice Secretary. So it's all sorts of things that we have. And they do have real issues around access to justice. I just don't think this is it. I think that the introduction to the tribunal is essentially not causing the kinds of problems that we're hearing about. And I think that before we rush to judge, before we rush to conclude all the work of road employers looking to do that with their employees, I think we should take a step back. The other thing we need to know is that this is a very short-term drop. You know, this analysis is only in place since 2013. So it could well be that claims pick right up. But again, I wouldn't say that as a good thing. I wouldn't see the number of claims going up as a good thing in and of itself. You know, 16,000 claims a month. I think most people in the public would think that that was a little high. It could be good. You know, it could be brought back under control. I think the less we rely on lawyers, it's probably the better.
Okay, good. Thanks very much indeed for joining us this afternoon.
calm and they want to keep Donald Trump out of the headlines, really, which we're not used to being the case, for the next 5 days. New Hampshire is very important here. It is one of those opportunities for Donald Trump. When you look at the map at the moment, what seems to be happening is he's getting more opportunity in certain states. Hillary Clinton still has the advantage. We're at a rally here now. Pretty oversubscribed, actually. All the people you can see aren't actually going to get inside. It's very small room in there. Usual merchandise on sale here, the Trump bus over there. But more sedate in its tone. And I think that's an appeal to the New Hampshire voters. Barack Obama won here by 6 points in 2012. Let's just take a look at the latest average of polls here in New Hampshire, according to Real Clear Politics. They put Donald Trump at 43.5% and Hillary Clinton at 42%. So this is an example of new opportunities that could be opening for Donald Trump. And the key for him really now, I think they've given up on the idea of appealing to broaden his base and minority and more about really getting the turnout motivated within his core supporters. Now, Heather, you're obviously here, your little one, you're hoping to get inside. A bit disappointed?
A little bit, but as long as I get some sleep, I'm fine with that.
Just to do what you made with Melania Trump. She was out on the campaign trail. She hasn't been out on it much. She was talking about her mission being to tackle some cyberbullying. Do you think she needs to have a word with her husband first? Well, antagonistic on Twitter, for example.
Yeah, but I just think that's part of the, politics. It's just, Hillary does it too. So.
Has he put you off at all throughout his campaign?
Absolutely not.
Nothing has made you question tapes?
Nope. I would question her.
Question Clinton instead. And in terms of Melania Trump's appeal, she was talking about her experience as a model in Paris and Milan. Is she related?
I think so. I think she's very classy. Somebody that I would want my granddaughter.
Trump behaving himself in that, isn't he? Sticking to the script, he's doing all his campaigns, he's telling. Does that work for you? That's what you want?
Yeah, stick to the script and, yeah, do it.
Seems like Donald Trump when he's kind of being as though to be Donald Trump, so that he's kind of being his bold, outlandish self. Do you think it will play well for him that he's being more obedient?
Yeah, but I think that he needs to get with what he's doing right now. I think he's doing wonderful. I love it.
More loyal supporters. It's not difficult to find loyal Donald Trump supporters. Interestingly, driving through this state as we've just been, there are many, many more yard signs for Donald Trump than there are for Hillary Clinton. But overall, it's quite interesting that hasn't been as much of a feature. It seems there is this level of embarrassment, if you like, for voters for either candidate. They are the two least popular candidates of modern times, so that could have an impact on the turnout of this election. Amanda, thank you. Well, a special program on Sky Atlantic tonight. We'll be looking at what happens after the race for the White House is over.
Amateur doesn't not have used an international meeting. But the only ones that work are the ones that follow US leadership. If the US does not give leadership, whether it's the G7 or the G20, then very little happens.
That is Clinton versus Trump, the aftermath on Sky Atlantic at 9 p.m. After Trump on Sky.
New York, home to both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Two locals vying for the most powerful job in the world. Sky News will be live here in New York on election night as the results come in. So our team of experts provide in-depth reactions and analysis as America decides. Will it be President Clinton or President Trump?
Clinton versus Trump, America decides, November the 8th on Sky News, Sky Atlantic.
Knowledge of the law is one thing, but knowing people is quite another. Which is why our solicitors really get to know you and not just your case. Widely regarded as the #1 personal injury law firm, we help you get the best possible medical care and rehabilitation. Call us today
Christmas at Tesco Mobile, we packaged up a great deal for you. Like this Moto E3, for only £8.50 a month. Now, with a few added benefits. A free set of Pulse-Max headphones and an extra £3 saving off your monthly bill when you opt in with our Smart Loop Extras app. With all this, no wonder 98% of our customers would buy from us again. Smile. You're on Tesco Mobile.
Looking to save on your broadband TV and home area? Benefits which you provide with too much hassle.
You're going to love this. Have Simplified Digital. People every week to switch to a deal that's ideal.
Everyone's needs are different.
So our advice is tailored around you
We work with Sky, Virgin Media, Talktalk, and many other providers.
to save you an average of £300.
But you're not average, and neither are we. Our UK specialists use our Ofcom quality comparison engine to find you pick up the deal.
including some you won't find elsewhere.
Then our free switch support team will help you get connected every step of the way.
So whether you're thinking of switching,
Or just don't know where to start,
call us now or visit us online. The longer you wait, the more money you could be wasting.
save on your broadband, TV, and home phone bills. Call 0800 083 2101. Visit simplifiedigital.co.uk or text dealer to 81400.
I am jumping for joy. I didn't think I'd get a Barclaycard initial credit card. But it's for people with not much credit history. Like me. So I checked my eligibility, applied, and just got a yes.
Pedro here from Digital Sports about Barclaycard initial. Any problem?
Apply now and see if you can get a yes. At Barclaycard.co.uk.
Did you buy a Spanish timeshare after the 5th of January 1999? Did you buy fractional ownership, points, floating time, or club membership? Did you sign a contract that lasts longer than 50 years or pay any money within the cooling off period? The Spanish Supreme Court has recently ruled a number of such contracts null and void for breach of timeshare legislation and awarded full refunds to clients. Call timeshare release today on 0208 952 1000 to see if you can make a claim.
Greetings, Destiny Civilization Watch, the greatest adventure ever in human history. There's so many things that can go wrong. So it's possible.
Starts the 13th of November on National Geographic Channel.
Well, time now for Bob Egg from Sky Sports Centre for an update.
The chief executive of the Scotland's Football Association insists that they will stand firm and have their team wear poppies when they play England next Friday, despite them being banned by FIFA. The claim that Poppy breaks their rules because political, religious, or commercial messages aren't allowed to be displayed on the pitch.
Not doing what's right, and in reality, you're not doing anything different to what we did back in 2011. What people have done is draw attention to the law that says that you can have any political statements or religious emblems on your shirt. We don't believe that the Poppy represents either of those. Certainly, the local was ever going to catch anything, it wasn't going to catch the Poppy being worn on an armband.
Before that, though, there's 9 Premier League games this weekend, and Tottenham could welcome back last season's top scorer Harry Kane. They're huge. North London derby against Victor Isles Arsenal. Kane, who scored 25 goals last year, has been out injured since September.
Got the update yesterday. Very good training session. The last few seasons it was very important for us. Scoring in the Premier League is important when he's fit, and it's important for club.
Former British tennis player Barry Cowlisser and Murray will get to the top of the tennis world rankings. Murray can take a big step towards that by beating Thomas Berdych in the quarterfinals of the Paris Masters.
And then at times he might have lost a bit of focus. He's not doing that now because, as you said, he's on a mission. Unfortunately, I don't see him being number one when the rankings come out on Monday, so he dropped it from the final. I'm not sure he's going to do it by the end of the year, but I'm absolutely convinced it's going to be at some stage from next year, from January to May.
Football right now on Sky Sports News HQ, and we're back in the next hour.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords, or wiring, because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. With a host of smart options too, including automatic timers, light and temperature-sensitive control. Everything in fact to get your shading just the way you like it. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
Did you buy a Spanish timeshare out of the 5th of January 1999? Did you buy fractional ownership, points, floating time, or club membership? Did you sign a contract that lasts longer than 50 years or pay any money within the cooling off period? The Spanish Supreme Court has recently ruled a number of such contracts null and void for breach of timeshare legislation and awarded full refunds to clients. For timeshare release today on 0208 952 1000. See if you can make a claim. It's great when you can totally relax. Welcome to TalkTalk for you. It's low-price broadband plans, giving you complete peace of mind. We guarantee there will be no unexpected price hikes throughout your 18-month contract on our broadband and fibre plans. So no more deals that only last a few months. Just one low price for your whole 18-month contract. TalkTalk broadband is totally unlimited. You can surf, stream and download as much as you like. Our fixed price plan starts at $22.95 with line rental included. They're available now to everyone, whether you're a new customer or already with us. Get total unlimited broadband, including line rental, plus our powerful super router at the fixed low price of $22.95 a month. That's great value through to 2018. Because peace of mind matters. Visit TalkTalk.co.
Some narrow, steep flights of stairs. Okay. Life can be cruel and short for hard-working donkeys like mine. With little food, water, or rest, they must keep going, no matter what. Crude harnesses, cattle flesh, horrific wounds and injuries not untreated, and when they've given all they can, then they simply need a back. You can help us treat more sick and injured donkeys. We want to stop it at each one as we like. But we can't do it. So use more 0800 035 9305 or text STEP to 84010 to give just £2 a month. Your help will be the first step towards a better life for brave donkeys like mine. I'll play the ones that bother you and that's all I have.
So watching Sky News, the headlines this afternoon from Southern NBC, Stephen Phillips stands down over the government's approach to Brexit, saying the values of the party have changed. Former police superintendent Walter Anderson was jailed for 12 years when accused of assaulting two teenage boys in the 1980s. And a temporary ceasefire in Syria's city of Aleppo appears to be over after state television saying rebels have fired rockets aimed at humanitarian colonies. The coroner has ruled nobody was to blame for the death of Australian President Philip Hughes on the death during a march in 2014. However, there were disputed accounts throughout the inquest which blamed the strong conservative pledges. The coroner called the practice, which sees players insult or intimidate one another to gain an advantage, ugly. We're going now is sports psychologist and we are also hoping to get ahead for that market shift. Amanda, is there an argument that sledding is just a part of competitive sport, or does it stray from the part?
That's a really good question. It's very much a part of cricket. It's become a very intimidating part of cricket. I mean, it's very psychologically disarmed players, but it's been part of cricket for a very long time. It's, you know, the Aussies brought it in, and it's become very much part. So it's difficult to, you know, players really need to be aware of how they respond to spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, this is the, as you describe it, as very much a part of cricket that's been there for such a long time. Cricket is considered to be a gentleman's game, isn't it? And yet, this is a rather ugly understuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is a professional sport. You know, it becomes very competitive. It is extremely competitive at the highest level. And cricket is very much a gentleman's game, but sledging has been around for a number of years. It's been around for a very long time in Test cricket, and you know, it's got down to the county level, and it's become more prevalent as well in the women's game. Just Connor commented the other day. So, you know, it's very much. I think one needs to look at the context of the game. It's a way of psychologically disarming players and of emotionally raising stress levels and allowing them